Hello, hello. It's been a while since I've been on here. Actually, a couple of years at least. I just wanted to jump on real quick and let everybody know that we haven't quit doing what we're doing. We're still on the 400. We've actually had a documentary film crew out with us, and we're going to be bringing them in until late next year, just to document everything that we're doing. And Carol and Bill King, hello. Nice to see you. C. Blanton, nice to see you. So I was saying I just wanted to jump on here, and it's been a long time since I've been on, and I kind of quit putting things on here for a lot of reasons, but we're in the process of filming a docu-series, and we're going to be filming through probably the end of next year or late next year as it sits right now. And we recently went out on a 10-day trip. First time we brought in the documentary film crew. We only allowed 3 people. What's up, Browndorf? Mr. Fifth Wave. So we took this crew out for 10 days. It was their first time in. Had a lot of amazing things happen. The whole situation in the 400 has changed over the past 2 years. A lot of stuff went down. The property owner passed away. And we deal with his wife, but COVID also happened. So along with other things, I got sent out of town for work, and that was kind of ended up being a longer ordeal than it was supposed to. So long story short, we weren't in as much as we had been in the past. And this summer I got to get back out and really start hitting it. And over the past couple months, things have really started to progress back towards where they were. And we recently did the first Missouri Bigfoot conference in Ozark, Missouri. We had the documentary film crew out with us already. We were out in the 400. We came out literally the morning of the conference, did the conference, and as soon as the conference was over, we went back out. But had a lot of amazing things happen over that 10 days. The 2 juveniles that I was tracking and casting and that we were getting the interaction from, I'm not finding their tracks anymore. 2.5 years ago, me and Randy had an idea that the mother may have been carrying around a toddler. Well, we have new tracks out there. I recently found a trackway out in the mud flats, over 100 tracks. We casted 15 of them. And this juvie is not one of the older juvies that we were casting and interacting with. This is a new one that has come up. We also found 6.5-inch tracks. So we know pretty positively that we have a juvenile out there and a toddler now. We caught possible samurai chatter 2 days before the conference, and Scott Nelson just happened to be one of the speakers at the conference with us. And Scott Nelson now has the audio from the video, and he said that he's been sent hundreds of pieces of audio over the past, since 1974, and none of them have matched the Sierra sounds. And he believes that he's fairly positive that ours do match. And he's taking the file. He took it home with him, or we sent it to him via email, and he is actually going to break it all down for us. And he said it's going to take him a month or 2, but he is going to transcribe it for us, actually. And to add to that, on the audio of this, what sounds like the samurai chatter, the Sierra sounds, seems to be 2 of them, and one of them is using a chirping sound. And the very first clip of audio that he played at the conference when he spoke was what he said was a toddler and an adult, and the toddler was using the same chirping sound. So We have that and the 6.5-inch tracks. These two directors and the camera lady, I'll just tell you their first names and refer to them that way. Cynthia is an Emmy Award-winning documentary filmmaker. She works for Nobody But Herself, which was one of the reasons we brought her into the picture. Her camera lady her name is Blair. Amazing woman. They're both hardcore. They'll do whatever we need them to do, and they'll go wherever we go. And we go into some sketchy places at times. And then who has become a friend of mine, Alex, is also a Hollywood director. He was actually filming a movie in Mexico and came here for this. So they're big timers. My buddy Alex, the director, he's a Bigfoot junkie also. So originally this was just, we were going to bring him in to experience this stuff with us as friends. And it's turned into this. So they got to experience all this stuff. Cynthia, the other director, her and Blair went down the trail after being there 2 hours, and they cut between the trail and the creek to relieve themselves. And Cynthia saw something black run down the dry creek bed. So 2 hours in, and they're coming back to camp asking us what is black out there, what animal could they have seen. And Dan Nedrolo, our resident biologist, went through all the possibilities, and nothing seemed to match. So we can't say what that was, but right off the bat, she was thrusted behind the camera. I'm sorry, in front of the camera. So they're all involved in this because they're having they're seeing these things happen. They're having their own experiences at times. So this docuseries isn't going to be just about us. It's going to be about them too, because it has to be, because they're experiencing these things with us. And Cynthia actually came in as a skeptic, and she's not 100% sold yet, but we'll see what happens. Her being a skeptic is good. We spent a lot of time in the mud flats, actually, trying to debunk the tracks by walking out into the mud barefooted ourselves and trying to replicate them. Cynthia, actually, 2 of her tracks actually came out fairly close, but you can see the arch. The arch is the difference. But there are pictures of the trackway itself. There's no pictures of the tracks online. We have to kind of hold some of this stuff back for the documentary or the docuseries. At the conference, we actually took all the tracks, about 90% of them. We took them to the conference and displayed them. We also played the audio. So if any of you on here or anybody that sees this, if you got to go to the conference, you got to see and hear some things that no one's going to get to hear and see for a while, unfortunately. But we're out there doing the same things. These things come in around camp, and I'm going out, approaching them. We're trying to communicate. If you go back to a couple of years ago, the last big outing where I had the multiple people in with us, I actually experienced the samurai chatter from about 10 foot away. They came in around camp. The jumbo, the things that we do. Randy was at camp. He stayed at camp with the thermal, watching it. He led me out, just, telling me which direction to go, move left, right. He gets me out near them. And I was within about 10 feet in the thicket near this thing, and it actually did the samurai chatter. I'm assuming at me, is directed at me, but it was real monotone. It wasn't like you hear the Sierra sounds and they're loud, because these things are like yelling and back and forth or whatever. And this was real monotone, like it was trying to almost like it was trying to communicate with me or something. It was a pretty intense moment, I should say. But so this isn't the first time that we've had the samurai chatter out there. This is the first time that we've caught it so that other people can hear it. It's been a long time coming. Scott Nelson he's a Navy crypto linguist. Yeah. And he hasn't deciphered the language, actually. He broke the phonetics down, is what happened. He broke it down into, I think, 600 different phonetics. which is, for lack of a better way of describing it, maybe like certain grunts or sounds or enunciations versus letters or speech, or knowing what each sound means. He hasn't gotten that far, but I am getting ready to work with somebody who is in their senior year of learning to be an AI tech and building AI, and we're going to try to see if we can work with Scott using AI to see if that may help decipher some things within within all these phonetics that he's put together. So it's pretty exciting stuff. I've been real quiet on social media for quite some time. I like to lay low at times, and I was getting to a point where I felt like I was putting too much out concerning the 400 and the whereabouts of it, and just there's a lot of little clues in there, and so I kind of pulled back on that, and I kind of could see where things were going to be going. And another thing that is really, really positive for us right now is when all this kind of started coming together, we were offered, $500,000 from a couple different production companies. And we turned it down because we don't want to be beholden to anybody. And we want the final say in everything. And that's kind of what has happened within this project. They've given me the final say on the final edit. So it allows me to, kind of keep my thumb on the process. And I don't think I have to worry about that. The people that we're working with, like I said, one of them has become a friend, a good friend over the past several years. And so for him, he's getting to come in and experience this stuff. And that was originally the whole point. Was we were just bringing him in to hang out with us for a weekend or a week or whatever he could do, because I wanted him to experience these things, because he's into this, and the stars aligned and the right people stepped into position, and it's working out great. The two ladies are fearless. They'll go where we go, and like we're going in. As you guys know, I try to get close to these things and approach them. Actually, when the Samurai Chatter happened a week and a half ago, Alex was with me on the trail. The ladies and Dan and Randy had went down to the creek to launch the drone, and they were flying the drone with, it's a thermal drone, about $11,000. They were flying it ahead of us, looking for heat signatures. And me and Randy's headsets lost communication. So Randy flew out ahead of us and then made a U-turn and come back down the creek. Me and Alex went out to where we were supposed to be going. And, I was scanning with my thermal, which is a new ATN thermal monocular 4x40. You got a killer zoom on it. What's up, Dallas and Skilly and Rando? See Blanton. So we headed back and got about a quarter of the way back. I stopped to do a scan, and then the chatter started, and couldn't find the heat signature through the trees and the foliage, but it was coming from the ridge. So after it stopped, we went in towards it and got to the base of the ridge and scanned and didn't find any heat signatures. And we went back. We went east at the base of the ridge line all the way back towards camp, and nothing else happened after that. As you guys know, one of the things that was kind of weird that was happening a few years back is I was finding scat with pawpaw seeds in it on my new trails that I'd switched up. And we went back down where me and Alex had been running the cameras when this chatter happened, and there was scat sitting there. It was right where we were standing, had pawpaw seeds in it. So I had a DNA kit with me, so I gloved up and got everything out, and we took 3 samples. So we have 3 scat samples. I can't say for sure what left the scat, but It's looking like we're probably going to have it tested, and it's going to be a blind test. I can't say too much. Maybe a university, maybe somebody private, but it's going to be tested, non-bias. They're not going to know what they have or what they could have. So we're kind of just keeping to the same old things that we were doing. Really, we're just back into the game. It was kind of slow for 2 years, like I said, and we've been able to get back out and hit it really hard. The situation has changed completely. We have two different individuals that are there now as far as the juvenile and the toddler. Pretty amazing stuff. The last night that we were there, Blair woke up hearing the chatter actually from the same direction. We got the usual audio of knocks and whatnot. I should say too, where happenstance, just we got onto an area and found 14-inch tracks, which I'm pretty positive is the mother. Her tracks 2.5 years ago were 12-inch, right at 12-inch, and so now hers are 14. And then the two other individuals, the 9.5, the new 9.5, and the 6.5, were also in that area. And there was a down tree that had a rock sitting on it, and I smacked that rock on the down tree, which had no bark on it, and it seems to be the knock that we'd been hearing that direction from camp before the rest of the crew got there. Let's see. I went up on the ridge. We were setting a lot of audio up on the ridge. As a lot of you know, Randy puts together these audio recording. They look like logs basically, and the audio recorder and the mic is all in it. And I had been setting these out, and I went for a hike up on a part of the ridge that I don't normally hike into, and I was getting a knock and a clack out in front of me about 30 yards. And, I would stop and two individuals would knock, one over here, one over here. I would, and I was also following compression trails and seeing fresh breaks and old breaks, and break and twists, I should say. So I'd go about 100 yards further. I'd stop 30 yards out in front of me, knock and a clack. I'd move another 100 yards, and then there would be a knock, and the clack would be back over here now. And so they were staying out ahead of me, almost like they were, leading me further up this draw that pulls into the ridge line. But I ended up vacating that situation just due to time and whatnot. And that night, Dan arrived, and we went on a night hike up there, and didn't have anything happen actually. But it was a fun-filled, crazy 10 days. Let me tell you, everybody that was there got to experience all this stuff. And I think what we're most excited about is having that chatter on film finally, and being able to pull that audio out and give it to Scott Nelson. And the fact that Scott Nelson is excited about it, and, saying that he hasn't received any audio like this since 1974, which was the original Sierra sounds, is pretty crazy that we've been able to capture that. I hoped, I can't say I knew we would at some point, but I hoped that we would at some point, because like I said, I'd already heard it previously from up close and personal. This chatter is, there's the low end, the snarls, the growl sounds, the high end stuff, the chirps that they have in the original Sierra sounds that he says is a toddler. I mean, it's only 2 minutes, but there's a lot to pull from it. So hopefully in the future, we'll be working with Scott Nelson more on that. And like I said, I just recently talked to somebody who's builds AI technology, and so we're gonna work with them on helping Scott to maybe build an AI system that can maybe start really trying to come up with some kind of translation for the phonetics that he's pulled out, and 600 of those actually. So a lot of stuff has happened this summer. Any guess which ones were chattering? Well, most likely the chirping was the toddler, And as far as what the other one that we were hearing, it's either an adult or the other juvenile. I have no idea which one. Like I said, we couldn't see them. They were up on top of the ridge, and we were at the base, or we weren't at the base. We were about 30 yards from the base through a thicket and trees, from the base of the ridge. It took almost 50 years to get comparable Sierra sound recordings. Yeah, that's the crazy thing about it, Mark. It's it's pretty wild that we were able to catch it. Not only were we able to catch it, but it happened 2 days before the conference that Scott Nelson was speaking at with us. Like the odds of that are probably pretty damn slim. What's up, Randy? So one of the other things that we did this summer, we changed it up a little bit. We feel like these things are fairly comfortable with me, so we took some time this summer, and Randy went out and stayed by himself out there and did several 10-day stretches on his own. I would come in on weekends and do some weekends with him, but our hope was that these things would come in around him and get more comfortable with him, and they could kind of develop that one-on-one or two-on-one versus me being out there involved in that. So Randy captured a really, really great thermal from camp. The creek was dry, and one of these things came up to the edge of the creek. There's an area right next to our camp that is it's about a 6-foot drop off, and this thing came up and was standing in that drop off. You can see it's kind of turned like this. You can see its shoulder. You can see the head. We did a recreation of me there, and it's actually about my size, so we assume it was the one with the 9.5-inch tracks. It's actually, man, if we didn't have the thermal, the ATN that we have now at the time, but if we would have had that out there, we would have like a zoomed in up close and personal. Like you would be able to see the details of the face. That's how good this thermal is. It's pretty amazing. Along with this, another good positive thing out of this is we have funding. So we're going to be investing quite a bit of money into some tech. I'm not going to say a lot about that right now, but we're going to have some pretty cool tech that we're going to be using, and we're going to be able to do some things that I think are really going to be groundbreaking for us, and possibly for anybody, for a lot of people. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. I say this, but everything could stop at any time. It's always been like that, and that's the scary part. But knowing that we have lost possibly the 2 juveniles that we were interacting previously, the positive side of that is there's one now out there with 6.5-inch tracks. So this is going to be a lengthy project if all this keeps going and keeps happening, because when I got into the 400, there was no toddlers. So we knew at some point these juvies were probably going to come of age and probably move on. That seems to be the case. But now we have a toddler to habituate and use the same techniques that we've been using over this whole period of time. And if this younger one adapts and starts interacting with us, we're going to have more time than we've ever had with one particular individual. So that's really exciting. Skilly, yes. I can't say 100% that the other 2 juvies have moved on, but I'm not finding their tracks. I was really perplexed. The first set of tracks I found this summer were 9.5-inch tracks, and the 2 juvies tracks we expected to be like between 10 and 12 inches now. Just going by the growth rate that we were seeing, over a 3-year period. And I was supposed to be her first kiss. Yeah, that's a running joke with the guys. That's a running joke. Mr. Fifth Wave, is your research still limited to the 400? It's not limited to it, but especially at this point, all my focus is on it. There is another place here in Missouri that we are going to go. Actually, Randy's probably gonna go there first when the leaves start falling, and he's gonna do some sweeps with the drone over their property. And this other place has, I'll just say they have pictures and of tracks and trail cam pictures that are very convincing. I'll just say that. And they've reached out to us, and we're going to oblige them this year also. So we will be doing that, but most of our time is still going to be spent at the 400 because we're in, we have to stay on top of it as much as we possibly can. So the next big thermal footage is next for you guys. That's what we're hoping. That's why we've spent the money on the things that we're spending the money on. The thermal drone. Wait till you guys see the thermal on this thing is pretty amazing. It's unreal how good of a picture it has, and this ATN thermal monocular that we got, it's amazing. We're going to pick up another thermal monocular from ATN. We're going to get a 1x16 for Randy because it has a wider view. It doesn't have the zoom, but the way that we work this is Randy's has a wider view, wider field of range, and mine has a 40 times zoom. So we use his to scan the big picture, find the heat signatures, and then we use mine to zoom into it, and then we can see exactly what it is. So it's really changed things up for us. It's super exciting, and we got some other things that we're gonna invest in that are gonna really change the game for us. So there's gonna be times where we don't even have to run cameras, and thermals and 6K cameras are gonna be rolling on us, like built into our clothing, into a vest possibly. So I won't say a lot about that, but just know that we're working on we have the money to do it now. So we're working on some of these ideas that we've been throwing around for a long time. Skilly, have you noticed any reaction to you running this equipment, bad or good? So right now we've got these, this new Juvie and this toddler. They are not coming in around camp like the other two were. They have came in around camp at times, but not like the other two were. The other two seemed to be really comfortable with the situation, and like every time we would go out there, almost they would after a certain point, after the first time that I approached the one in the field, ever since then, they pretty well would come in around camp every time we were out there. That is not the case now. So we're working back through our process with these other two basically. And, at some point, hopefully it'll get to where the other two Juvies were, and we'll be able to continue forward from there. So yeah, that's kind of a letdown, but, now we have a toddler, which gives us more time than we've ever had with one individual, possibly. So that's kind of the gist. So as far as the equipment, we have this film crew out with us. It's just 3 people. Usually there's only 2 cameras rolling, but we are mic'd up all the time. And the cameras are rolling pretty consistently, so we're able to catch most everything. When filming at night, we are using some soft lights and some soft red light, and that's for the cameras, so the cameras can see what's going on. And thus far, those lights don't seem to be affecting much. But I also can't say that wholeheartedly because they're not, coming in as close as the other 2 were. So we'll see what happens in the process. And, it's kind of a play it by ear, and not back to square one. If it's a scale of 1 to 10, we're like back to square 6. So, but being back to square 6, we've all, like we just caught samurai chatter, and we got it on film and audio. Actually, we have it on 2 different cameras. My thermal records audio also, so we have it on the production crew's camera, and we have it on my thermal too. I was running thermal at the time, so it's pretty. The chatter that we got is pretty amazing. Alex was with me, like I was saying earlier at the time, and he was really questioning, "Do you have pigs out here? Oh, do you, like, what is that?" We're trying to understand what we're hearing. And then when it really started, when it kind of upticked and got to going, we were going, "Oh my gosh, we're getting this. We got this." Hang something from a rubber band type and make it sticky, hanging down from height. I'd say you'll get hair samples. The young ones may play with it. We have ways of collecting hair. I'll just say that we've got some hair traps that are in process right now. But I appreciate that. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I know Scott Carpenter used to take bacon grease and rub it on a tree, and he'd put uh, double-sided tape, packing tape, I believe, around the tree, and he was getting hair samples that way. So, what's up, Patrick Noble? And I didn't say hi to you earlier, Strangeland. I just addressed your question or your comment and didn't say hi. So, but yeah, things are going good. We're still getting the typical audios, rock clacks and maybe rocks being thrown and stuff like that. That stuff isn't. We don't pay a whole lot of attention to it. We still run our audio and we're collecting all that evidence too. But like we're looking, we're trying to get the bigger and better stuff, and that's what's exciting for us now. And all the other stuff has happened so much. It's almost commonplace, I guess. But this summer's been really good. There's been a whole host of things that have happened that that we haven't came out and spoken about necessarily. So if you go to Randy's Facebook page, it's Harrington R. Randy, actually. There's a whole synopsis of what happened in this 10-day outing that we recently did. And there's a few things that are withheld in it, but for the most part, it's a good little synopsis of everything. If I could put a Sasquatch in a group, what group of mammals would you put them in with all the behavior considered? I mean, if I'm being honest, if I had to guess, and it would only be a guess, I would guess that they're some type of relic hominid. Like I said, that'd just be my guess, just from the experiences that I've had, and I've looked these things in the eye a few times from a distance, of course, but I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to think that these things are an animal, like what we would consider an animal. I'm sure they're probably self-aware, and just the things that they do and being able to evade us and at times and stuff. It's I would have to think that they're some type of ancient hominid. What about the bird GPS tracking device? Ever tried it before? No, have not tried it. I know someone that has, and it didn't work. They, I believe they pulled it out of what it was in. So let's see. What am I seeing here? Mark said, "Great question, Rando. Any concerns about your DNA evidence would be fairly assessed by a lab?" Yes, actually. I actually mentioned that probably before you jumped on here, but we do have 3 scat samples, had pawpaw seeds in them. We are working on a place to send those. Could be a university, could be a private lab, but they're not going to know what they have. And we're probably not going to have it just sent to one place. Like I said, we have 3 really good size samples. We could literally send off 10 of these. And we have the money to do it. So it's all under discussion with the team as of right now. We're all kind of decompressing from the trip and all the crazy happenings and whatnot. And so we'll be on some Zoom meetings here real soon, I'm sure, and discussing all this and what to do, where to go, all that good stuff, and planning the next trip for them to come in. Mr. Fifth Wave, you live in Southwest Missouri, and the drought has been very serious. Is your area providing a good water source? So The creek that runs through the 400 has two springs that run into it. So even when the creek is dry, there is water running through the gravel underneath, which creates pools in areas. So yes, this is in Southwest Missouri where all this is happening, fifth wave. So yeah, we haven't had rain in a while, just till the other day. Actually, the day after we came out, it rained a little bit. The tracks that we casted about a month ago now were still there in the mud flat, dried, and we actually took the documentary crew out and filmed them. We're able to film them because they haven't changed; they're still there, amazingly enough. So it's it's been good. It was a really, really productive time. And Pat, you may want to go to Randy's page and read the things that happened. We caught some chatter. Scott Nelson has it and thinks that it's legit, and there hasn't been anything legit since the original Sierra Sounds. So pretty crazy stuff. Caught it 2 days before the conference, and he was there speaking with us. So super exciting, super exciting. We have put together a team. I've mentioned this before. We were in the works with it, and we still haven't really completed it. We're still looking for a couple more people to fill a couple positions, but we have an anthropologist. We have Dan, of course. He's our resident biologist that goes out in the field with us at times. We have another biologist that is going to be involved. We're hoping that is going to be really focused on the tracks themselves. That's going to be his main thing. But basically, we're putting together a roundtable of academics to go through all the evidence that we obtain, and that'll all be part of the docuseries. Also, at some point we'll be able to film their process and bring that to light also. So, the basic idea is just to have the evidence vetted before it actually goes into the documentary or goes into the public eye. If we have a vetting process, then it definitely helps when we're trying to get other academics to look at these things, right? If we have a group of academics that is saying, hey, there's some viable evidence here, then maybe we'll get some other academics to put their guard down or whatever the issue is and look at this stuff and listen to this stuff. And we with the equipment we've obtained, we should be having some really good thermal footage, I would say, by hopefully by the end of the year. A person with solid woodmanship skills is needed. I retire in 3 years. Right. It's been pretty exciting. So, but I just wanted to come on here and just throw some stuff out here. It's been a long time since I've even been on, YouTube on my channel and put anything on here. And at one point I was going to start putting videos back out because I have a ton of stuff that has happened before. Like, this is kind of be the start of this docuseries, this first 10 days that we did with them. And I have so much stuff that we've caught before that. And I've just been accumulating it. And like, it would just take me months and months and months with my editing skills to put all that stuff together. So it's going to be it'll hit the light of day at some point, I'm sure. But for now, we're just going to move forward with where we're at and what we can document from here on out. And when I get time, I'll start going through all the stuff from the past several years that we've captured, and maybe that'll we'll probably focus on putting that stuff on the website. Actually, we have a website. There's not a lot on it right this second because we've been so caught up with what's happening and what we're doing. But OzarkMountainSasquatch.com, I believe it's .com. I don't even know. Gary Schutte, our guy, he knows. So if you do a search on it, it'll probably come up. But like I said, there's not a lot on there as of yet. But over the next month or so, now that we're through this part of the project, I'm going to hopefully have a little time to start getting all that stuff and going through it and getting it on the website. So once we do that, we'll start putting the website out there more and, letting people know that it is out there and available to check out. So thanks for the update. COVID was a bear. Yeah. Sorry about the landowner passing and his wife. Yeah. That was a big kicker, man. We became friends with the homeowner, and when he died, it was kind of a shocker how everything happened and whatnot. Speaking on him, I'll fill you guys on a little craziness that happened. So after the property owner died, they pulled his vehicle up underneath a carport, and this group out there, they have a calling card, or what I call a calling card symbol that they make. It's a little structure that they make. And I'm not going to go into what it looks like or anything, but 3 months after he died, that structure was built on the hood of his vehicle underneath the carport. And there's no way that limbs could have fallen on his car, on his vehicle. It was under a carport. So his wife and his sister actually discovered it and called me, and they were very emotional over it because they knew what that symbol was. Her husband had actually shown her a couple that I had shown him, and he explained to her what they were. So when she saw this and found this on his vehicle, she was just blown away. She felt as though they were maybe saying goodbye because it'd been 3 months since he'd been around. So that was kind of a strange happening. It's one of those things you don't even want to tell people because they're like, that's crazy. That's crazy talk. It happened. I got the picture. It is what it is. There's crazy things that happen, and I think that would attest to their senses and their character and their intelligence. That would speak on a lot of things if they did that. So I'm I'm positive they did. I wouldn't even argue it with people because it's not worth the time. It's something that's kind of special to his wife, and it made her want to allow us to continue the process. That was his wishes. He was really enjoying what we were doing out there, and she understands that. And she's a super, super sweet lady. And she's allowing us to continue and keep moving forward. And she hopes that we're able to eventually prove these things are real to the world, and she's in it to win it with us. So it's awesome. Wondering if symbol structures are being used by these individuals. Yes, they don't build large structures out in the 400. They're all smaller. They have two main structures that they build that I've been able to pretty well say for sure that they're building these two structures in particular. They also use white flat rocks. They lean them up against the base of a tree to mark certain places. That's been another calling card of theirs. So I've actually found that same thing on a property in south of Ava, Missouri that I was on, that I got brought into a couple of years ago. They had they were using the ridge line to get across his property, and at one end of his property on the ridge line was mostly cedar trees, and they had busted the cedar trees off at 6 foot. And if you stand and face the direction it's pointing, it would point to the next cedar tree, which would be 30 to 50 yards away. And it would be pointed at another one. And this would lead you all the way across pretty much about half of the ridge. And then you cut into a valley and back up on the ridge. And from there was no more cedars, and it switched to these white flat rocks. So two places that I've discovered that, which is interesting. My old research area, that was not happening. So it's interesting. It's interesting. I don't know what that means necessarily, but you would think that would maybe mean that there's some kind of ties between those groups if they're using the same things as markers, possibly. But anyway, that's a whole nother thought process. So, there's a lot to this stuff. There's a lot to this stuff, man. It really boils down to us keeping. We're just going to keep on doing what we're doing, and really nothing is different as far as the documentary crew, the 3-man crew, or 1-man and 2-woman crew, I should say. As far as them being out there, they're not really involved in what we're doing, other than helping us to try to debunk things. And we expect that of them. We want them to try to debunk things that are happening also, because that's only good. That can only be a good thing. So that's about it, man. I'm going to jump off here. Like I said, I just want to jump on. I haven't been on here a long time. Go to Randy Harrington's YouTube page. We've been posting some stuff on there, some videos from out in the field. He's posting them on there. You can see some shots of the thermal drone, which is absolutely amazing. So Randy Harrington's page, Harrington R. Randy. Go to that page. You can see a lot of updates. I don't post a lot of stuff on my personal Facebook page anymore. Like I said, I like flying under the radar. But I am posting things on Randy's page, because Randy loves talking about this stuff with everybody and anybody. And so I'm helping him do that on his page. So go check it out. I'm going to get off here. It's good chatting. I'm going to start doing this about once a week, I think, just to let people, kind of get filled back in on what's going down in the 400. So I'll talk with you guys soon. Be good, be safe.